Need motivation?
Watch a Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like na 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 na. For my top 10, top 10, na 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 na. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because chances are you are the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, David Meltzer, and my take on his top 10 rules to success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1, balance your values.
Anybody here want to know how they get what they want? You want to know, would you like what you want rapidly and accurately? Absolutely. Well, let me teach you how to do that. The first is to understand how the mind works. Number 1, mathematically, when I think about what I want, hopefully every day, it instantly becomes a possibility. It becomes a mathematical possibility. And when we think about it in a certain way and we become inspired, because when you're inspired, that possibility becomes a mathematical probability. And guess what the only thing in your way from making it your perspective or reality is? You, exactly. I believe that when we think about things, we have to think about 4 different values that we have. The first is our personal values, our health, our integrity, our character. What's personally valuable to all of us? And then we look at our experiential values. What is my experience, my education, my mentors, all these things, what does it tell me? Is it aligned with my values? And then I look at my giving values, right? How much is this going to help other people? And then finally, my receiving or my financial values. And I balance those values in my foundation before I start to think further, is this something I want or not? Money's a renewable resource. Those other ones aren't. But yet we spend 95 to 99% of our time worrying, working towards all of these different financial things that we have attached as an outcome of happiness. And I'm here to tell you, it's bullshit. We have to have balance of our values, and we have to get really focused in on what we want. And that will give us confidence. And confidence is the litmus test. It's a halfway point to being inspired or in spirit.
Rule number 2, prioritize happiness.
I realized that everyone's performance that works with me and my own performance was directly related to my morale. The one consistent component or dependent variable of my own performance and my team's performance, which is exponentially great, is happiness. Happy people perform better. Once again, we get caught up into all of these different series of trainings and real disciplines, etc., and we forget the most important thing that makes us perform well. We all perform better when we feel good. So as a leader and as a team member, we want to make that the most important thing to do.
Rule number 3, grow your whys.
Hours mean nothing. It's what we do with those hours, and we have 2 constants in our life. The first constant in our life is us. We're the only ones, we're the common denominator of everything in our life. The second constant is we all are given 24 hours a day. And the problem is, nobody knows what they want. How much time do you ask yourself during the day, what's gonna make me happy? That's the biggest problem. The question now is, if I guaranteed you happiness from the time you open your eyes till the time you close your eyes, who's in? Everyone. Now, when I consciously think about something that I want, it's a mathematical possibility. What a great thing. Mathematically, the minute I think about what I want, it goes from 0 to a possibility, whatever quotient that may be. And then if I get inspired, it becomes a probability. And when you're connected and in spirit, you're making everything you want a probability. And guess what? There's only one thing in your way from making it a perspective or a reality. Who knows what that one thing is? You, right. Instead of using my free will to go make things happen, I now use my free will to allow them to happen. I use the same amount of energy, I just get much more exponential results. I get more positive results by trusting the universe and allowing them to happen with great free will. You are the universe. If you trust the universe, you're trusting yourself. So how hard is it to make $1 billion? How hard is it to get your business off the ground? How hard is it to be a professional quarterback? How hard is it to fix my marriage? What why is on your list? How many whys are on your list? How many minutes a day are you going to truly get focused in on manifesting what you desire? And it comes from discipline. It comes from discipline. Make it your effective habit. If I can stay focused every day and have my list of whys, how many whys can I have? Imagine the production I'm getting out of my life. And guess what? I'm beating you with time. Beat them with time. Get out of your own way. So I want everyone to think positive thoughts, believe positive thoughts, and shift your energy to what you desire. Think about your first why or how many whys you have in your life and continually grow those whys. Utilize 24 hours at its maximum capacity, and you can manifest everything that you desire.
Rule number 4, live the life of service.
There's 3 points that changed me. One was when I was 30, before I lost everything. My dad, when I was 10, forgot my birthday, right? And killed me. And he made up an excuse why he forgot my birthday, because he doesn't believe in birthdays, because he was so hurt he forgot. So for 20 years, I never got a birthday present from my dad. And at 30, when I was starting to understand my dad, he gave me this beautiful jacket, fit perfectly, which was the biggest compliment to me ever. And then I opened it and the pockets were all torn out. Really? Yeah, I'm like, that's what I said. Like, really? So I called him, I'm like, all right, now what's the deal? Because he was an arrogant guy. He retired when he was young, married a young second wife, cheated on my mom. Like, he's a human, but like, I'm like, what is it now? He goes, I can't even wear this jacket. I go, it's beautiful. I thought you didn't believe in birthdays. And he apologized. He said, I'm worried about you. I said, why were you worried about me? I have everything. And he goes, I'm worried about you. And I go, well, what are you giving me this? He said, go hang it in your closet. I want you to look at it every day. I'm like, why? He goes, I don't want you to be the richest man in the cemetery. He goes, you can't take anything with you. And I want you to remember that, because you remind me of myself when I was 30 years old, and I don't want you to be like me. And that's when I realized about my father. I said, gosh, the things I hate about my father is what I hate about myself.
Wow.
The next time was on a golf course. Best friend who grew up right by me, and my wife, told me, I asked him, why don't you hang out with me anymore? And he said, because I don't like who you hang out with. And I'm like, well, I'm not doing the things that they're doing. And I hit a chord. He goes, you can lie to me, but don't lie to yourself. Then a couple months, well, it was actually very shortly after, my wife woke me up and said she wasn't happy because I came home in an altered state of mind at 5:30 in the morning from a Grammy party with Little John and thinking I was a rock star. And she told me, you are not a rock star, and I'm gonna be leaving if you don't change. And those were the things, those 3 points stick out in my mind that moved me towards a transformation of living my life in service. And when I say living the life in service, people get confused, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm not Mother Teresa. I'm not walking the streets of Calcutta. I'm a compassionate capitalist. I love money. Right? If you think about my philosophy of more than enough, of abundance thing happening through me, I believe I still wake up at 4, I still am productive and accessible, but I believe everything comes through me for other people. I might as well make a lot of money because I can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. And I'm a realist. The best way to help people is to have a lot of money. I think Warren Buffett is going to help more people and Bill Gates with their billions of dollars than my mother, who I adore, has been a teacher and a catalyst and has nothing in her whole life. But still, she needs my help, right? And so in essence, she's been a catalyst for people to help a few people, students and maybe a couple hundred, but billions of dollars. Come on, you could hire thousands of my mom. That's what I want to do.
Hey, this is Dave Meltzer, and I'm going to read my favorite paragraph of my friend Evan Carmichael's book, Built to Serve. Here's the secret. Dream big, act small. It is important to dream big. Your big dreams will motivate you. It'll inspire you to keep going when things get tough. It'll be a rallying call for your partners, suppliers, customers, and future employees. Keep a hold of your huge dream and then act small. Find the smallest possible way to get started, to take the first step, to get some momentum going. Dream big, but act small.
Rule number 5, align and adjust.
I used to tell people I retired because I had made enough money and there wasn't anything left to do at Samsung. We became the second largest manufacturer of phones in the world. and I was in my mid-30s. The truth is, they kicked me out because I didn't have enough knowledge to take the company to the next level. It took me a good 10 years to admit that to people, that I just didn't have enough knowledge or experience to do the job anymore, so they paid me a lot of money to leave. At that point, I had 3 beautiful daughters, a home in Rancho Santa Fe, a Ferrari, a Porsche, anything I really wanted, except for one thing. I lost my gratitude, my empathy, my accountability, and my effective communication. I became an asshole, is a commonly used term. And like most assholes, I surrounded myself with the wrong people and the wrong ideas. Those 2 coinciding events in my life propelled me to outline the person I was. And I went back and I started outlining this gratitude, empathy, accountability, and effective communication. I started figuring out what I had lost, because for the first time in my life, I was empty. I wasn't a leader, I wasn't a team player, I wasn't fulfilled, and most importantly, I wasn't happy. I created a AAA philosophy to attract into my life what I want and manifest it and trust the universe that it will come. Number 1, I'm more interested than interesting. I get alignment. I don't just tell people I want to be a doctor because it seems like a good way to be rich. I actually do a ton of due diligence, research, ask people, and find out and get alignment with what it takes to manifest or attract what I want. I put together an action plan of exactly how I think I can manifest what I want. And the third A, which I didn't have when I was young, is I prepare for adjustment. The only thing I'm sure about is that I'm 100% wrong. I always have to adjust, so I come up with plans A, B, and C. And if I do those 3 imagination principles, I become inspired. And now all the accountability is on me once I become inspired. I have to use discipline, strategy, and awareness in order to take action to attract that probability into my perspective. My requests are very simple. I will over execute on the value that I give and trust the universe that it'll come back. Now, I detach myself from the outcome that it happens in the right way at the perfect time.
Rule number 6, set yourself apart.
Lee Steinberg hired me within 48 hours because I was an expert at technology. He saw the future of sports and technology. He could easily hire any one of you to work for him. But you're all the same. I love sports. I was a sports management major at San Diego State or at Harvard or at Penn or at UMass or what. You're all the same. You know what rocks my boat is someone that comes up to me. Like I had a kid, I was in New York yesterday and Cleveland on Monday. Got to go to both Cavs and the Indians game. It's also what I love about my job. But I was there, and this kid who grew up in China, goes to St. John's University, heard me speak. I stopped in at night the same way here. He showed up when I was in New York. 9 a.m. in the morning, I'm at the atrium. I have meetings I'm speaking for Executive Next Practices Global Business Leadership Conference, keynote speaker. He shows up at 9 a.m., I'm speaking at 1 o'clock, and he follows me all day. Mr. Meltzer, all I want to do is learn from you. Can I shadow you? Yeah, sure. Can I sit in this meeting? Mr. Meltzer, can I get you anything? Mr. Meltzer, can I do this? And Brad and Justin were with me, and they're in the back. I don't know, I never even saw his resume. I'm sure Colleen has. She's the head of our HR department. She's back there, went to St. John's. I'm sure she saw it. But I know the kid's name now. Out of 2,500 resumes that I'll get this month, I know his name. I know he graduates in December. He emailed me today. I look at all my own email, and I said to myself, I'm gonna hire this kid. Want to know how to get hired? Set yourself apart. Love what you do. Be more interested than interesting.
Rule number 7, have the underdog work ethic.
I was never the best at sports, and so what it taught me was to go into something that I knew I wasn't the best at, but to do my best anyway, and be okay with sometimes not winning. And that perseverance and consistency were the 2 ingredients as an entrepreneur that really set me apart, because all of a sudden I was on an equal playing field, if not even had some advantages with my own genetics. And so after spending my whole life at a disadvantage trying to keep up, I now had to use that same work ethic. And the cool thing is, if you look at like LeBron James or Tiger Woods or Kobe, those guys have extraordinary talent, but they have the work ethic of an underdog.
Back it up.
They literally have the same Akron, Ohio background that never say die. I'm gonna work all day and all night to be the best that I can be, pursue my potential.
Rule number 8, choose who you listen to.
I went to law school and studied really hard. And when I graduated law school, I had 2 different job offers. Very, very different. The first was to be an oil and gas litigator. And the second was to get a job selling legal research on the internet and this internet thing. So of course, I went to my mom, again, the person I trusted most. I'm not gonna cry this time, but I asked her, what should I be? Should I be, to be rich, that's my goal, an oil and gas lawyer, or should I take this sales job selling legal research on the internet? And my mom, with her great advice, said, you know, Dave, you need to be a real lawyer because this internet thing is a fad. For the first time in my life, you know, I took my brother's advice and I didn't necessarily take the advice of my mom, even though she loved me the most. In fact, I find a lot of people's problems, especially young people, one of the bigger problems they have in life is they mistake the fact because somebody cares about you that they're gonna give you good advice. Right? And then you end up resenting them. You resent them when that advice becomes bad, like the internet's a fad. You know, that's bad advice.
Rule number 9, enjoy the pursuit of truth.
Who here wants to be happy? Yeah, it's a pretty easy question. I'm blessed to travel around the world and I still yet to find one person that doesn't want to be happy. In the complex lives that we lead, I think that the biggest mistake most people make is they forget to be happy. I believed that money could buy love. I believe that happiness could be found through anger, anxiety, fear, and even revenge. By the time I was 32, I leveraged my technology career in being the CEO of Samsung's first convergence device, which we now call smartphones. I was a multi-millionaire, and I had every single thing that I wanted. That's when I realized that money does not buy happiness, and it definitely doesn't buy love, but it sure rents the shit out of it, because I became my mom's favorite child. It was awesome. But I was so fortunate. I had everything that I needed. The funny thing was, for the first time in my life, I wasn't happy. Remember, the key to being happy is getting what you want. I'm not so spiritual and woo-woo as you think. I believe 90% of all things you want to be happy can be bought. By better education, better experiences, better looking spouses, whatever it is. You can buy whatever you want, but the 10% you can't buy, the most powerful percent, is the truth. And so we're all in enjoyment for the pursuit of our potential or the truth.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is have radical humility.
As I was reading your book and studying a lot about you, one of the things you talk about, you're very transparent to how you had everything, lost it, and then regained it. What did you learn the most about having everything you've ever wanted and then losing that?
Yeah, it's interesting because I used to look down on people that it seemed like everything happened to them.
Yeah.
And so they were victimized, right? And I kind of had the Midas touch, and I thought because of the Midas touch that things just happened for me. And so what happened was, as I got more and more, things were happening for me, and all of a sudden I had everything I ever dreamed of. And in fact, the reason that I wanted to be rich was just to buy my mom a house and a car. Yeah. Right? I was 5 years old in Akron, Ohio. Only time I wasn't happy was when I caught my mom crying because something broke. We were in a 2-bedroom apartment, you know, and I just wanted to be rich to buy her a house and a car. And that came 9 months out of law school. Yeah. Then I had all this more money, everything happening for me. I'd stop at a red light and say, this is happening for me. I just had this super positive attitude. Well, all of a sudden, I built this beautiful home in San Diego, and I realized, wow, I'm not happy. I had everything. And so I started buying more things for me, different things for me, and I still wasn't happy. And the reason I lost everything is I didn't have any radical humility anymore. I grew up very humble, and I became an arrogant a-hole And I surrounded myself with the wrong people, the wrong ideas, and what I manifested was the miracle and the lesson that I needed, which was radical humility and understanding that things don't come for me anymore. They come through me. And that's a true shift in the paradigm of values, that when things happen through you, you live in a world of more than enough. When things happen to you, you live in a world of not enough. When things happen for you, they're just enough. So I was living in a world of just enough for me, just enough for me. And now I live in a world of more than enough for everyone. And things just, I have more than I've ever had, and I've been more happy than I ever have been, because things happen through me for everyone else.
How long did that take you to learn?
I'm still learning, but that process and journey has been 10 years. I actually started the journey 2 years before I went bankrupt. So the most difficult thing that I've ever had to do was 2 years into my transformation, I realized, I was going to go bankrupt. I had a number one, tell Lee Steinberg, the most notable sports agent in the world, who hired me because it literally would tell people he's a great PR guy, that I was Midas. And then 2, walk down the street. And if you remember why I told you I wanted to be rich, right? Mm-hmm. Walk down the street and tell my mom that I've lost everything. Oh, and by the way, you need to move out because I lost your house. And that's where I learned radical humility. She looked at me, and this unconditional, more than enough world that she lived in, she looked at me and said, that's okay, do you need any money? Wow. That's all she had to say. I literally told her I had lost her home and she has to move. And I was in such shame at the time. And her response was simply, how can I help you? How can I be of service?
Now I've got a special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I wanna know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video, and what is your plan of action that you're going to execute this week to make some immediate momentum happen? When you just get motivated and watch a video, you have a 35% chance of following through. That's what the science says. But when you write down what time, what day, what place you're actually going to execute, when you create the plan, you have a 91% chance of following through. And I want that for you. And when you commit to people publicly, you increase your chances even more of actually doing it. So I want to know what your single biggest takeaway from this video was, and your specific plan of action to actually get the result you're after. Let me know. Put it down in the comments below, because I want to celebrate you.
There's 4 things that contribute to the subtleties of success, whether it's in life, business, or my favorite, football. The first is perspective. Who here is a senior? I want you to think about this. I'm around the greatest football players of all time. I played in college, and every football player, whether it's high school, Pop Warner, college, NFL, or the Hall of Fame, will tell you that they wished they didn't leave anything left on that last game. So I was taught in football that you're given a bank card every practice, every game you play in. And that bank card, when you start that game, is full. But you're not guaranteed that you're going to get another bank card the next day. So you need to have gratitude, both individual gratitude, perspective of how lucky you are to be a part of the team, to play in this game, because you may not, determined upon your skill set, injury, you never know what's going to happen. It could be the last time you play football altogether. It definitely may be the last time you ever play with your best friends. Even Warren Moon, Troy Aikman, and Steve Young, 3 of my favorite clients, will tell you the thing they miss most about football is the camaraderie, the team. So make sure when you go out this Friday that you have gratitude and perspective of how lucky you are to be in the position you are, to play in a big game and have a chance to upset and to do something significant and get another game to play.
If you want to change your life in the next 30 days for free, check out my training right here below. Or if you want 10 more awesome rules from David Meltzer, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy them. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.